Storyfire's a lot, man.
I know. I remember it really stirring things up because everyone I get demonetized, everyone would be like, go to Storyfire, go to Storyfire. And I was like, what is this Storyfire stuff?
Yeah, we
didn't know each other, so.
No, yeah, we went hard for years. We did a documentary, Brian Spitz, who got assigned to me by Studio 71, to do a Psycho Family documentary about how we came up in the Psycho series. And after that, we had become close friends. He had come from Hollywood, and I think he really loved what we had going on with the fans and the YouTube. And he was like, hey, do you want to work on a new business? And at the time, it was like, here's Storyfire, which is a written application that basically like YouTube for writers. I was like, oh, that's cool. I got a lot of young storytellers that would, do fan fiction and all kinds of weird stuff. Like, let's make an app for them. And so I financed it in the beginning, and then we came out with the beta. To start, it was like 70, 80 grand to get like a V1 of the product. And for a while, it was fun. I'd shout out Storyfire on my YouTube and be like, hey, let's write together. There was even like a matchmaking so we could battle like one-liners through written stories. And then crypto was starting to pop off around that time. So we're like, yo, what if we got Blaze as an in-app currency and people could start earning Blaze through their written stories just as another form of like monetization? Because we also started to have ads on written stories too. Then the apocalypse hit. Shit hit the fan, and I'm like, I wanted to sell a series that had My Virtual Escape, which was kind of like Ready Player One, virtual reality based, and Verizon Go 90 at the time was like shutting down, so they pulled funding. They were gonna buy the show, so I'm like, well, I can't put this series on YouTube because there's like drugs and guns and blood, and I'm like, an actual series like Breaking Bad or something, and so I'm not going to make any money there. So then we made Storyfire into video too. And then from there it evolved. And then the bills started getting to be like 6 figures a month to keep the app running. We got to the point where we started getting other YouTubers with equity. They came on, and we had some big marketing pushes like 2019, 2020. We had DMs. We had a whole social feed. We basically programmed Twitter in a very short amount of time. And then the whole bit was 3-4 years in, I'm doing part 1s on YouTube, part 2s on Storyfire, literally like sacrificing my whole audience. I'm like, guys, please like support this. Cause on my YouTube, my RPM was like 50 cents, a dollar, maybe $1.50, if that. Jeez. On Storyfire, we were able to get, because it wasn't like all the demonetization and stuff, I was able to get like at least $3 to $5 per 1,000 views. So I was like, let me just put them here. Yeah. And we started doing that, and a lot of edgy creators came over. Some brought some flack, naturally, but it was like, hey, we don't care. We're not going to punish the creators for being creative. And it got to, I was like $3 million deep into this thing. Dang. And I'm like, Brian, dude, I need to get this off my back because I can't keep scaling this, right? And we need to get outside investors. So we did a big marketing push in 2020. We had a bunch of creators, and I swear like some of these other platforms maybe like took a lesson from our book, because we had these posters coming out of like, so-and-so join the platform, so-and-so join, and to where people were like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, everyone's going over here. And that was like probably 400K of just like me paying creators. I definitely got boned. Like I was just handing money out, and they were like, yeah, we'll do a one-off shout out brand deal. And the brand deal was like terrible, but I'm like, I don't want to like have a bad relationship with any of these guys. So then we pushed it. And then I was like, all right, let's talk to every VC under the sun. And we did. None of them were interested. They all had the same perception of, you're not going to win. You're not going to beat YouTube. You're not going to beat Google. Therefore, we're not even going to try. And we had a lot of success up until that point. So it got to this point where me and my partner are like, all right, am I going to put like another $1 million and we give another push and maybe we can get cracked at another VC? And my partner was just like, he didn't want to keep going. And then it came out that I audited the books, and he was taking some money.
Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah. And I was like, I called him out on it, and I was just like, dude, like, what the is going on? And I came out about this at a certain point, but it gets so convoluted, and I'm thankful for giving me the opportunity to even talk about this, because like I've actually not gone to solo a podcast ever. It's always been like me and kid behind a camera. I was like on No Jumper or like Keemstar's podcast or whatever, but it was always me and kid behind a camera. It was like I couldn't solo a podcast. I'm like, okay. But I wanted to talk about this because I got so much flack for how Storyfire ended that I felt like was just so unjustified, because I was kind of trapped. I couldn't legally talk about like what actually happened. And it was also similar to Fitz. I didn't want to throw my dude under the bus, even though he like me over. And I was young when I first signed that Storyfire deal where I only got 20% of the company and he had the rest. And I was putting millions in and I was putting my audience in.
He had 80%? Oh my God.
I was pretty bamboozled. Like the stock was technically like he had over 50% and then we had a pool. But it was like I didn't realize younger at the time because I, optimistic. I love the people are great, all this. And I didn't think that anyone would do that. Yeah. And so not only did I realize the equity split was so bad, but then when I kept trying to put more in with so many years, so much sacrifice, I'm like, dude, can we keep this going? He wanted to get paid like handsome, like a $15K a month just to keep it running while having the lion's share equity.
He's getting his up front.
He did not want me to have more equity than him. And I'm like, damn, dude, he really pulled the long con on me. And then he held the platform hostage. He's basically like, if we can't come to a deal, we're shutting her down. And I'm like, I don't want the platform to shut down. I'm also losing what was my best friend at the time. And the fans are hanging in the balance. And I was just like, it was just so much money and time and effort. And then all the creator relationships too. Like Kid Behind the Camera, Keemstar, like Boogie 298, Dame, all these creators had equity in the company. And then we had brought so many others and promised so many things. And here's the founders are having the age-old like cliche battle, like some Zuckerberg shit. Yeah. And I had to come out and do a video and be like, guys, Storyfire shutting down. I didn't know what I could do. And then I was able to save it where I got my partner to agree to at least let me keep it going for like another few months. I'll put 100K in. We'll keep it alive till maybe we can figure out somebody to sell it to. And he agreed to that. And then, but in return, he wanted me to take down the shutdown video and explain it in a way that like didn't make him look bad or everything was fine. And then the entire internet was like, he faked the shutdown. He's scamming everybody. He's scamming. It's like, how am I scamming everybody? I put millions into this. I sacrificed my whole career just so we'd have a place for edgy creators. And I'm the one getting, and I can't talk about it.
It's brutal.
And, CoffeeZilla at the time, who had like no following, he did a video on me. I got Keem and Kid Behind the Camera being like, what the Jesse? You this whole thing up.
That's a good impression.
And I'm like, dude, like, you don't understand. That's what happened. And they're like, you're in a character right now. We don't believe you. I'm like, who do you think I am? Like, what the? And I kept it alive. And then it got to the point nobody wanted to buy it because they realized how big the bills were.
Yeah, it's brutal. The overhead is so crazy.
Yeah, just to keep it going, not even scaling it. So it's like, we sold it as an NFT because NFTs were so big at the time.
Yeah, I remember.
They were like, my thought was maybe we can get some crypto gajillionaire who can scale it and carry out the Blaze vision that we had. Because I always thought it was a great idea to be able to charge Blaze, like 100 Blaze to watch a video, which would be fractions of a penny.
Yeah.
So fans are like, yeah, I have a fraction of a penny of Blaze I earned through the app. But for the creator, it adds up. All of a sudden, not only did you get the few hundred in ad revenue, but you got a few hundred in Blaze. But the audience isn't freaking out because it's only fractions of a penny.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty cool.
And that we still haven't really seen that yet. But
you sold it as an NFT.
We sold it as an NFT.
And what did it sell for?
Like 14 grand.
14 grand.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's a nice NFT.
Collectible.
God, dude, one of one.
And so this dude, Deckchair, who was his crypto pseudonym because they all like to be all anonymous and stuff. Turns out he was very wealthy.
Wasn't there for a while people didn't believe Deckchair was a real person?
They're like, this is a character, this is part of the story, which honestly...
That would have been cool.
It would be. And I did play, I started to play into it. But like, I think with me not being, like, always being in character, because not only was I Jesse Ridgway Psycho Kid for many years, where I played like this abuse victim, but then I played Isaac Calder, who was like an emo kid.